All right, welcome to this explainer. Today, we're diving deep into something that, let's be real, silently impacts almost all of us. We're going to decode the evolutionary psychology behind exactly why we quit, and way more importantly, how you can finally break that cycle and become a consistent finisher. Let's just jump right in.
So I want you to do a really quick mental audit of your phone right now. Seriously, just think about it for a second. How many abandoned workout apps are sitting in some random folder? What about those broken language learning streaks that keep pinging you with notifications? Or those coding courses you bought on sale but literally never finished? Yeah, we all have that digital graveyard of good intentions.
Well, the good news is you absolutely aren't alone in this. Research out of Harvard and MIT shows a pretty staggering reality. 90% of people abandon online courses after just 3 or 4 lessons. Think about that. If 100 people start a journey, only about 10 actually cross the finish line. The other 90? They're just trapped in this endless, exhausting loop of starting and stopping.
So here is the roadmap for today. We're covering 6 main areas. Number 1, the trap of quitting. 2, shiny object syndrome. 3, the emotional cycle of change. 4, the true cost. 5 brain cheat codes. And finally, 6, how to actually become a finisher.
Okay, starting with Section 1, the trap of quitting.
To really understand this, let's look at 2 incredible figures from the world of cricket, Sachin Tendulkar and Vinod Kambli. Now, both of these guys were immensely talented young boys, practicing on the exact same ground, under the exact same coach. Actually, back then, a lot of experts thought Kambli was the more naturally gifted of the two. But look at how their paths diverged. Sachin faced injuries, terrible form, and just a mountain of pressure, right? But he maintained this relentless, unbreakable discipline. Kambli? Well, he got a bit distracted. The glamour and the parties, the shiny new lifestyle, kind of pulled him away. His focus shifted, his work ethic dropped, and the result? Sachin achieved literal global legendary status, while Kambli's massive potential just faded.
Which brings us to Section 2, shiny object syndrome.
Now, the crazy thing here is that Kambli's quitting wasn't really a moral failing. It's not just a lack of willpower like we usually think. Your brain is quite literally hardwired with something called neophilia. It's basically the brain's natural evolutionary obsession with new things. Thousands of years ago, seeking out new paths and new resources was a survival instinct. It kept us alive. But today, in our hyper-stimulating digital world, that exact same survival instinct acts like a neural hijack. Your brain literally manipulates you into seeking out new, exciting distractions just to avoid the hard, gradual work of whatever you're currently doing.
Moving to Section 3, the emotional cycle of change.
You see, every single goal you ever set follows 5 distinct stages. It starts at Stage 1, uninformed optimism. This is day 1, you are hyped up because, well, you haven't actually faced any real difficulties yet. You get this massive dopamine spike just from planning. But then, maybe a week later, you hit Stage 2, informed pessimism. Reality hits. You realize the work is actually hard, and that dopamine starts to drain away fast. Next, you crash hard into Stage 3, the valley of despair. Now, if you can somehow survive that, you reach Stage 4, informed optimism, where real confidence builds from actual results. And that ultimately leads you to Stage 5, completion, where your very identity shifts.
But let's zoom in on that critical breaking point, Stage 3, the Valley of Despair. This is where progress feels agonizingly slow and your motivation is just dead. Right here is where your brain kicks into overdrive and dangles a brand new, shiny object right in front of your face. It's practically begging you to jump back to that easy, effortless excitement of a new idea. And the tragedy? This is exactly where 90% of people quit. They take the shiny shortcut and boom, they completely reset their progress back to absolute zero.
Let's look at Section 4, the true cost.
Because the compounding costs of the shiny object syndrome are brutal. First off, you aren't just exploring your options. You are actively building a quitting muscle. You're training your brain that bailing is just the default response whenever things get tough. Second, you become a permanent beginner. Sure, you might have a surface-level understanding of 10 different things, but you have 0 valuable expertise in any of them. Third is the massive debt of half-finished dreams. I mean, think of all the money wasted on gear or courses you never touched again. Fourth, you fall for the illusion of motion versus momentum. You feel busy, kind of like you're in a rocking chair, moving back and forth a lot, but you aren't actually going anywhere. And finally, the most heartbreaking cost, shrinking ambitions. You slowly start losing trust in yourself, and you quietly just lower your goals in life.
Top performers understand this danger perfectly.
Take Logan Paul, for example. He said, "I don't do everything at once. I obsess over one thing until it's automated, then I move on." True growth only comes from obsessing over a single goal until it is totally finished or completely automated. You simply cannot build a solid foundation if you're constantly pouring concrete in a dozen different places, right?
All right, Section 5, 5 brain cheat codes.
So, how do we fix this? Here is your first cheat code, and it's highly effective. It's called the Chul Sheet, or basically an idea parking lot. When you're deep into a project and suddenly, bam, a brilliant, shiny new idea hits you, don't ignore it, but absolutely do not act on it either. Just open a dedicated note on your phone and write it down. This simple little trick acknowledges the idea, gives your brain that quick dopamine hit it was craving, but keeps you from derailing your current work. You literally just park it for later.
Cheat code number 2, burn the ships. Look, shiny object syndrome thrives when quitting is free, so you have to make quitting hurt. Take an amount of money that would genuinely sting to lose and give it to a trusted friend. Tell them they can only give it back to you if you actually finish your specific goal. Suddenly, walking away isn't so easy anymore, is it?
Number 3 is mental time travel. This is a super brilliant technique used by top athletes to lock into the zone. You create a highly specific music playlist that you only listen to when you first start working on your project. Then, when you inevitably hit that valley of despair and everything feels incredibly boring and heavy, put that exact playlist on. It acts like a time machine, triggering your brain to recall that effortless, day-one optimism and energy.
Cheat code number 4 is the boredom reset. Honestly, we get so distracted because our brains are completely fried and overstimulated by modern life. So once a week, commit to a total technology detox. No phone, no internet, no doom scrolling. Give your brain the absolute gift of sheer boredom. Once you reset your baseline dopamine levels like this, you'll be amazed at how quickly your slow, boring project suddenly starts feeling exciting and rewarding again.
And that brings us to our final section, Section 6, Become a Finisher. This right here is the ultimate secret to permanently shifting your identity from a starter into a finisher. If you constantly quit, your quitting muscle is super strong, which means your finisher muscle is practically non-existent. You have to rebuild it from scratch. And you do this by lowering the barrier to entry so much that you literally cannot fail. Don't commit to a grueling 1-hour gym session. Commit to a 5-minute stretch. Don't commit to writing a whole script. Commit to writing just 3 bullet points. The goal isn't the physical output right now. The goal is simply proving to your brain day after day that you are someone who finishes what they start.
So, I'm going to challenge you to make a contract with yourself right now. Think of one single goal, that one thing you've been putting off for endlessly restarting. Write it down and commit to a highly specific deadline. Put it in the comments, tell a friend, whatever. Just make it real.
I'll leave you with this final thought to wrap up our explainer today. While starting brings a huge rush of dopamine and a temporary round of applause, history is only written by the finishers. The real question is, are you finally ready to park your distractions, push through that valley of despair, and claim your place among the 10% who actually cross the finish line?